I actually spent years digging in these little containers for chips as I was stacking them.
Yeah.
And, it's just one of those days I figured out, oh, hey, dumbass, pick your chips out ahead of time, put them out in front of you so that you're not like digging.
No, just that little bit extra discipline goes a long way.
That feeling of I can't believe I've been doing it that way this whole time.
Welcome to Robertson Stash. Season 5 is brought to you by WNC CBD. Empowered by Puffco.
Ooh, what's up, everybody? Today we got Crunklestein in the house. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, you've been to Colorado before, eh? Many times.
Many times. It's been a few years, though. Last time I was up here, went just with my wife and some friends up to Breckenridge and chilled. So,
nice.
I haven't been up here working for probably about 5 years or so.
Wow.
Yeah, I used to come up every 6 months or so. So
yeah. Did you drive
a
every
little
time?
break?
Or did
I used to mix it up. Sometimes
Yeah.
I would fly, sometimes I'd drive.
How was the drive out?
Good.
You shaved about 2 hours off the Google Map time?
Yeah, it was perfectly legal, everything I did.
Said that with a pretty straight face.
Yeah. I just,
You got
there's
the radar sniffers. Sniff them
yeah,
out,
you got to have one of those. And, it's a pretty boring drive when you're talking about, crossing Nebraska and all that. So I like to just get over
through
with
it fast.
Most people I know like to stop halfway and spend the night somewhere. But man, I just like to get here.
Yeah, 13 hours you said or something?
Yeah, 14? I mean, it's normally like
on the map.
Normally like a 16 on the map. Yeah,
jeez.
But
that's pretty dope. Well, you got the nice bet, dude.
Yeah, we like to put the gas down.
How was the weather for your trip?
Good.
Because there was tornadoes like 45 minutes away yesterday.
I think I might have saw one the other day when I was driving through in the middle of Colorado. There was some pretty weird looking storms. The clouds were suspicious, dude. I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist, but there were some tornado ass looking.
That was on Saturday, right?
Yeah, that was on Saturday.
Yeah, there's tornadoes all around when you go down the foothills.
Dude, I think I saw some sort of thinking about forming, but the rain wasn't bad. It actually cleaned a bunch of the bugs off the car.
Oh, nice.
So that was kind of handy.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So you're here for the Birdie Bash, dude. What's going on with that? Your big golf tournament.
Yeah, the Explore Gallery Birdie Bash with my homie Calm Glass.
Shout out Calvin.
Yeah, what up? This is the second installment in my Putt Puff Pass tour. The first was in Miami in January with Glass to Grass. We had a great time just getting this thing launched here. They're golf tournaments that are followed by gallery shows. They feature my glass putters that I've been making, including like collab putters and stuff like that. So the tournaments are sponsored by a number of people, including yourself. Threw down a sweet bathrobe to give away. So we've got a crazy amount of prizes. Top prizes for my glass putters for the first place team.
4 of them?
Yeah. It's a 4-person team, so I can't give them one and make them fight it out. Yeah,
to share.
So I mean, we're gonna have about roughly 10 teams of 4. And, there's prizes all the way down the line. So, I mean, the last place team is going to win prizes that are worth about as much as it costs to go golfing at least. So, everybody's walking away a winner. This is not like a, PGA event here, man. We got people that have never even golfed before joining it. I'm just encouraging it to be, very all inclusive. It's all about just being outside and, having a good time and, smoking, snacking.
Sessions encouraged for this tournament?
Absolutely. All the way across the board.
It's been okayed by the course.
Oh, no. It's none of their damn business, dude.
It's legal.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not messing with that. But, no, we, and also, it's not like you can really just post up and just be slurping dabs, it's
by the clubhouse.
It's golfing, like you have to keep up a rate of play and stuff. So it's about, having your travel pieces ready to go and just, and just enjoying the day. We're supposed to have like an 80-some degree day.
Is that right? Oh,
yeah.
sweet.
So I think we're going to get lucky here Friday and have some really nice weather.
Nice. And what's the course that's at again?
We're having it at Green Valley Ranch, which is a very
by the airport.
very famous golf course, very professional, really nice. I just wanted to make sure these events are, just at maybe some courses that people wouldn't normally go to golf daily, So that should be a real nice place to play. It's just a 18-hole round. It's a shotgun scramble, so we all get started at the same time. And every time all 4 people on your team hit, you just pick whoever ball you like the best, and you play from there. So so people can be kind of not that great and still participate in the activity. And I'd say in Miami, we had a guy on my team that had never golfed before, and he ended up being our ringer. It was shocking actually. We thought he'd weigh us down. Shout out Sweaty. He ended up saving us on a bunch of stuff where we all shanked, and we were like, dude, it's down to you, and dude sent it. So it's that's the thing about golfing, man. It's it's such a difficult game, and sometimes you're good, sometimes you're bad. If you're good all the time, those guys are the professionals. Yeah. If you're not on the PGA Tour, you basically are a shitty golfer, and that's just the way it is. As long as you recognize that and you're out there to have fun and just take a nice walk in the park, you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, it is really amazing how a game can turn like with 1 or 2 holes.
Oh yeah,
I mean, you and me play VR golf all the time now.
Yeah.
One of us could be up, and then 1 hole later, you're down by 2.
Yeah. It's a game of subtleties, and it's a real mental game too. As long as you just kind of like try to make some adjustments, and
because the more you're losing, the more you get flustered, and you start like
things can change pretty quickly. So it's a good time.
your glass putters, have you had some people try them out on the course?
Oh yeah.
How's
certainly.
the performance?
They're great, man.
What's the feedback?
Everyone seems to be surprised at how much they like the feel of them. And, when it comes to putters, people have made thousands of different putters over the years.
Out of different materials too? Different
materials, different shapes. I mean, you start looking at some of the weird antique putters that have been made. I mean, people have thought of just about everything. And that's it. All the other golf clubs are very specific on the angles, and, it's kind of a arms race. But with a putter, it's a basic surface that you're hitting with. So
you never change the degree on a putter, right? It's always 90, or is that change?
No, the faces are usually 1 to 3 degrees, but they're basically flat. It really doesn't matter. When it comes down to it, you can either putt or you can't. You know what I mean? It's to me, you're either going to make the putt or you're not. It doesn't. You can buy the most expensive putters, the most high tech new models or whatever, but if you suck at putting, you're going to suck at putting, and you're going to want to practice, and it's,
I'm just wondering, like, how is most putters are made out of metal, right? The impact part, like how is the impact with the glass? It must have a different sound.
Touch. The resonance is definitely different. I think a big part of the contact feel with the glass putters is, the insulation properties of glass. You know how it's such a good insulator, and it cuts down things like vibration and that. That seems to be a big factor. Really absorbs that. It's a very soft feel, and the solid block, that's, it's like hitting it with a paperweight. It really transfers the energy well. So you find that, a lot of the effort is in the backswing to bring the club up, and when it comes down and makes contact, you're not having to push forward very hard. You'll send that ball, So,
is it heavier than traditional putters, would you say?
Well, they're all different. So I try to replicate the similar weight to,
what is the range?
A lot of people like 10 to 12 ounces. It seems like a lot of people, though, also with a lot of these new putters today are actually hitting up towards like 14, 15 ounces, which is a pretty heavy putter. But
what are yours weighing in that?
Well, I try to get them right up about there. 12 to 14 is kind of my goal. But of course, when I'm making these things when they're hot, I guess I could weigh the blank before I use it, I suppose. I've gotten
you still cut it though, right? Cut some off. Or is that
usually just
cold work.
I usually paddle it pretty flat and get it as flat as I can, and then I grind the face down. So I'm not like cutting or grinding too much away.
I see.
I've gotten to a point where I can kind of eyeball the chunk of glass and guess about how heavy it is. And then when it, unless it's a custom order or something, I don't really care exactly how much it weighs, because I like to keep a big variety so that there's a lot for people to choose from.
Feel.
Yeah, because especially if you're talking about older people, smaller people, ladies like a little bit lighter, talk about 10 ounces, 12 tops. Everyone's got their own personal preferences with something like a putter, and really taking the time to practice with whatever you're trying to play with and get comfortable with your putter. I feel like you could putt with anything. You could break a branch off a tree and putt with it if you, especially if you practice really
That's
well.
what I have in the VR golf is like a branch.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So, they're, a lot of people do think that they're not functional, that they're breakable or anything. And I think they're pleasantly surprised to see how functional they are and just how nice they are to have out there in the sun. They look amazing on the green. Some of my favorites are like the flower ones or the mushroom ones that look really natural. Yeah. And, it's kind of like the Kingpins movie where he's got the bowling ball with the rose in it, and when you're sitting on the green, it just looks like the flowers growing up out of the green. And to me, it's just kind of cool. And
it could be a fire hazard too, if you get the sun going the right way.
That's funny.
Your other opponent's ball on fire.
I wanted to make some just all clear ones that have a concentrated lens like that just for fun, just to see.
You could burn your track in.
Sure. Yeah. Burn yourself a nice little divot there. So
that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
You got to get John Daly to endorse one, dude.
Yeah. He'd probably like it.
Drinking a beer, smoking.
Well, he needs a smokable one, maybe even just one that's actually like a cigar holder or something.
Oh, yeah. You could put your cigar in it.
Yeah. Because the fun thing about the smokable ones is, when you putt with it, and especially in the nice bright sunlight, you just see this like trail of smoke kind of following your putter.
Wait, you made ones that the shaft, it's a pipe?
Not the shaft, but it's all in the head.
Just in the head. Okay.
Yeah, so it's almost like a big one-y surrounded by a lot of clear, there's
rip it and then you hit it and it's
there's a video on my Instagram feed of me doing that. And it's pretty funny. It kind of blew up. I think people thought it was pretty entertaining.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so those are kind of fun. I made it more of a novelty, but it seems like people are pretty into those.
So when did you start getting into millies? Like you started getting into glass about 98?
I was in the millies before I was even blowing glass, man.
You just saw them in galleries?
Brandon was making some very basic bullseye millies and stuff. And I was just like, wow, that is so cool. And was starting to kind of collect some of his chips and stuff and just was... really just thinking that was
stacking them like that at that time, or
hell no. No, but they were popping them in inside out or just laying them in, some of the surface work. So my first week when we set up this little bedroom studio with this hood we built in Mike Hagen's rental house, my very first week I was making millies, but we didn't have any color yet. But we had some silver. So I was doing like bullseye millies and stuff using silver.
Just fuming the outside casing.
Yeah, over and over again and stuff like that. So I was dabbling immediately with the millies. And then once I started getting some color, started doing more of that.
What were some of the first colors back then?
That was Cobalt, this red. Was right before all the crayon colors dropped. This was like, I feel like those came out like my first year of blowing glass though. Oh. And they were terribly bubbly. They were so difficult to use.
The original crayons?
Oh yeah, we were trying to clear coat them and do whatever we could to get them from boiling. But it was so cool because, otherwise it was cobalt, red, and then like all the
scotch.
Yeah, all the organic fumey colors, red exotic, green exotic, all those.
That's the whole palette back then.
When you don't know how to use them, they look especially muddy. I mean, they kind of do anyway, but back then we didn't know.
Oxidizing, reducing.
Yeah, flame chemistries and stuff. We didn't know about any of that stuff. So everything was just kind of looked like a mudslide. But so it made the cobalt and the ruby look amazing, Yeah. But Henry kind of, I think, branched off and started alchemy like that year or something.
Oh.
And that's where the crayons in that came from.
Who started alchemy?
Henry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so I just know Jody.
Yeah, right? It's their dad.
Oh, that's their dad. Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
He started the company. He had previously worked for North Star and stuff and had branched off and started that company on his own. Henry Grimmett. That's
so
where
you're making millies right from the get-go.
Making them from the get-go. So they were always kind of part of my work. A lot of times they were just in marbles, but then we started encompassing them, like, incorporating them like in the body of the piece and stuff like that. And not till I was like, I had done like small sections of them kind of stacked up like that and laid on the surface, all different stuff. But not until I want to say like 2004, something like that. Did we
vessel?
We were doing these oneies called Millie One Airs. I think Micro made one for his buddy, our old buddy Aaron, that was back in Milwaukee. That was I remember that was just kind of the joke that we were calling Millie One Airs, because we were like, how can you pack in the most work into like a one hitter format? You know what I mean? It's not a lot of meat there to get some stuff. And we're like, well, Millies are the tightest concentration you can really get. So stack them all up like that, nothing else.
Did you stack them or did you lay them onto like a tube?
No, they were just stacked. And clear globs over them, kind of like how I do it now still.
Yeah.
But that was with round Millies, how everyone kind of normally pulls just round cane and everything. And then that grew into like, okay, now the stem from a hammer is all Millies. And then, and then,
when did they start getting squared up? Like,
I want to say about 2007 or no, it was before that, 2006, I think.
Or is it just did you see that somewhere, or were you just like, hey, let's fill these gaps instead of putting clear in
the gaps were always a problem as far as them not turning into air bubbles. And, I would be making all these pieces. I love doing reticello. I love inside out work. Like, so I like breaking some stuff, cutting and flipping inside out. Like, I just think that's like the coolest thing. So I would always mix that with the Millie sections, and every single person would just be like, yeah, more of this. They would always point to the Millies and be like, yeah, it should just be all this. And I'd be like, dude, you know how much time that takes, and like how much, that's a lot of process. You make the cane, you do, and like, and I just kept hearing that, and I got sick of hearing it. And I knew that they were right, though. Okay, the other stuff's filler, and the Millie is really where it's at, and that's just kind of
the hard stuff.
And I'd always be like, damn, dude, I just like to sprinkle that in, not do everything that. But like I said, I knew they were right deep down inside too. So I started figuring out ways to make the cane and do the whole stacking process just more streamlined, so I didn't have to spend forever on every little piece, and I could make them still like a reasonable price. I don't know what a reasonable price, I guess, really is, but something that didn't sound fucking ludicrous.
So what were some of the things that you implemented?
Squaring. That's where the squaring kind of came in, to just to stack better. You could certainly stagger circles. Hexagons would be good as well, but it's not real easy to paddle a hexagon. This was before we had really any molds. I guess
you'd still get a gap, wouldn't you? The hexagon?
Not if they're stacked right.
Okay. If you put in the grooves.
Insert Certo. That's where Certo has. Yeah, I'm sure you're our homeboy. That's where his Millie stacking is based off. He basically is doing exactly what I'm doing, a little different procedure, but he's doing hexagons instead of squares.
Are they all the same shape? Or
I've done it before, but man, it's difficult, and it takes, like, he's got a special set of skills. That's, like I said, his Millies. That's a road I looked at and I've dabbled in, and was just like, dude, this is pretty crazy. So I've always just kind of stayed in my lane with the squares. I just really kind of like how that format stacks up. It makes it gives me a chance to create columns and rows too, which you can utilize for different things.
You get that hard edge for stacking too.
Yeah. And you can also do them diamond wise as well. There's so
Have
many.
You done that before?
There's so many different variations of this overall technique that I do. Most people make larger format slabs, make tubes out of it, grind off the ugliness of the outside, because to get it properly melted like that, you're going to beat up the color. And then they sleeve it. But
that's most people.
Most people, yes. And that's where I don't know if Basso or who was the first to do that, but that's only really been a utilized technique out there for less than 10 years, I want to say.
Grinding the surface?
I feel like 8 years or so. I've been.
So do you do that when you're stacks?
No. See, this is going back to what I was saying. I was trying to make this whole technique a little more efficient. And just like, I want to enjoy myself when I work, and I don't want to. I've always been avoiding any techniques that I didn't enjoy doing, because you see what happens.
No, cold working.
Something just becomes your thing. You know what I mean? And once you kind of open up Pandora's box that way, you're kind of committed to doing that. And I've always been afraid of like, okay, I like the results from this, but I hate doing it. Well, if that becomes something that, your collectors want to see and that you really are kind of pressured into doing, you're kind of not enjoying your day-to-day work. So I just have tried to avoid those traps basically. And so that's where I've really stuck with my own technique, where I can just, I can make a cane, which, going back to slimming the time down, I don't spend like a week on a single cane. There would be no way to use that the way I do and not have it be like, I'm making minimum wage or something or less, it's just, or you have to ask exorbitant prices. And I've always liked making work for people that like, almost anyone can afford my work to some degree, you know what I mean? And
so
it's
they're
not
more
like
basic kind of millies that is that what you're?
Yeah.
But they look so great, like all the skulls and the shapes together.
I avoid very detailed components and that type of builds. I like to just keep my components very simple. I cold stack a bunch of sticks and I heat an end with a hand torch, and I just pick up the whole mass of cold sticks.
Wow.
Carefully warm them up in the torch, and then press them all together and squeeze the air out from one end to the next by marbury.
Is it in a tube?
No. I mean, I do sometimes. I do sometimes make like colored. So I don't put any clear at least on the outside of my chips.
So then they stack better. Yeah.
Yeah. And more importantly, so that I can nip them and you don't see the crush marks. If you do that on clear, there's going to be some micro air bubbles there that are almost impossible.
I was wondering how you get around those, but I guess color doesn't really. If
you do that with color, it just kind of, protects itself. Yeah. So, and then you get a more of a constant mosaic too.
Do you put an elastic band around the bottom, or how do you hold them together?
Well, if I do it in a tube, I'll usually make a colored tube and then stack them inside there. But otherwise, I have a graphite cup that I made. That's just like a little square thing. I use shims to change the size if I need to. That are just chunks of graphite I had laying around, and I actually built this thing myself using like a Harbor Freight. It's an arbor press, So it's a simple little graphite box with a top piece that can actually press too. And I use that. I go back later after the pickup, and I use that to
press it,
help squeeze the air.
Oh, okay. Yep. So you use it to hold it in place at the beginning, and then after you're getting it hot, you go back and use it to kind of squish it square. Perfect.
Yeah, because I can stack them in there, shim it out to the size I want, and then come right with a hand torch and blast right on it, and it doesn't hurt it, So I built this thing out of a slab of graphite I had laying around and like just a chop saw, and I've been using the same press for like 20 years now. So
wow.
I always think about buying.
It's like my butter knife, dude. I've been using my same butter knife for 20 years. Seriously.
And I think about buying a nice one, like, oh man, these Blast Shield ones are so sweet, but I just have this one. Like, well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? And it's the perfect size for what I do. And so the pickups tend to be like 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds max. So it's a good size wad of glass without being like, a Jerry Kelly 8-pounder where you're just like, how are you even holding on to that thing? So it's something I can do like 3 to 5 pulls a day, even if I can get them stacked quick enough. Sometimes that can take half hour to an hour just to even do a simple, layout that way too. But it allows me to pull down some serious pounds of glass still. And that way I'll spend like 2 or 3 weeks just making cane. And then I'll get back to work making other stuff. So,
sounds most productive way.
Yeah. So I'll get 20 to 30 new fresh pulls, and each one will yield 450 to 500 chips. So that's just, that's a massive pile. I like to take pictures or videos and post those up. I don't know if you've ever seen them. I kind of just troll through them all, and I'll do it with UV and stuff. And, it's just kind of it's always a really nice feeling for me to just have this arsenal of
ready
material to go. And it's always like, man, what do I want to make? I always try to make a fun piece right off the bat. And,
sometimes you just make like the tube before you know what you're going to do with it. Stack it up, see how it runs.
Usually I have a purpose, but I'll even do a couple little demo ones just to make sure they're safe. If I have some new colors that I'm using, because my technique seems to be pretty hard on the color, and there's a lot of colors that work just fine in other formats. And if I try to do my chip stack and coat them and blow them out, I'll have like checking problems and stuff. So it's something that I do have to like, vet the colors and keep a pretty small range. So I use a lot of cadmiums and black and white and just colors that I've used for a long time. And man, when there's new colors, I love to use them in other areas of the pieces, but for them to go into my millies, it's like I have to kind of dip my toe in and just be real careful because I've been burned pretty bad by just going nuts, make a big body of work, and then
one color
they're checking and stuff. And like that happened to me with some slime back in the day.
Oh,
a lot of people got broke off by that slime, dude, because some of it was, and it's just such a cool looking color. It's just I think we all got dazzled by that one a little bit.
Yeah, what's the other one that's really checky? It has like spider webs, like blue. It's like a steel woolly kind of color. Or
like unobtainium or something. Yeah. You cannot go anywhere near any of those colors with my techniques and stuff. Yeah. So,
what do you think? What's the biggest challenge when you're stacking them together? Like and then you get that sheet. Like what's one of your biggest challenges when you're doing that?
What I try to do, when you're stacking vertically, you could actually go face to face and actually like line up the images. So just trying to, every time I lay one on there, I try to get them to line up just right. And then the columns side to side, I pinch together on the next step after they're stacked.
Okay. So you make one big long one and then you two long ones together. So
I flare a blow tube open. I stack the chips all the way around like you're building a silo out of bricks.
Oh.
So I'll stack them all the way around. I'll heat them up, melt them in, just a little bit, get them to be like
tacking
well, nice and flat at the top, and just I'll ream from the inside a little bit and then roll it on the outside, just so it's relatively round. Say I do 6 around, it'll be just a nice even hexagon. And maybe even flare it out a little bit from that and start bending some of those millies to be.
So you stack round. Them in a tube?
No, not in a tube. On the end of a blow tube.
On the end of a blow tube. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it.
I flare it open.
Yeah, you had that big. You had on the one that I just worked on. You really had that big shoulder blown out and clear. Yeah, and that's what you start stacking it on.
Yeah. So if I'm doing 8 to 10 chips around, which is pretty big, I have to flare it open to even, a bigger flare so that they're, I'm kind of guesstimating
what's going to fit in it. See, kind of?
Not really. No, it's more of an eyeball. And then if I start stacking some up and I feel like I'm off a little bit, I can make a little adjustment still. It doesn't have to be like perfect.
Yeah. But it helps when you stack them all out and have your layout first, right? Make sure they all match up.
Yep. It's easiest because I actually spent years, digging in these little containers for chips as I was stacking them.
Yeah.
And, just one of those days I figured out, hey, dumbass, pick your chips out ahead of time, put them out in front of you so that you're not like digging. Because it's a lot of times.
There's a lot of like things like that in the studio where just that little bit extra discipline goes a long way and saves you time. And,
well, and just that feeling.
Just that laziness. Like,
get rid of that feeling of how, I can't believe I've been doing it that way this whole time. And just like, it's nice to stumble on a way to make your work more efficient.
Yeah. But breakthrough like
how it is with dark glasses in the studio though, too. When you're looking for stuff on your bench, it can be a little bit fumbly. So when you're doing that much extra, a little helper like that really makes
and no one shows you that. It's like something you just got to learn on your own.
Right.
It's discipline. It's
well, in this particular technique too, it wasn't a thing. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't the hot shop as far as roll-ups go. It's not anything new that way, but for boro glass, it just wasn't really a thing. So
and good luck trying to get some hot shop advice from a flame worker back then.
Yeah. That's the thing. This was all less. There was just no information being shared anyway. So,
it seems like that whole stigma between the soft glass and the flame workers has kind of ended a little bit. There's a lot more crossover now, but there was some beef back in the day. Like, you're a pipe maker? Ugh.
Oh yeah. I've been disrespected on more than one occasion just by being a lamp worker, pipe maker, whatever. But who cares? But just to wrap up, the rest of the technique here, I stack however many layers I have set up, so now I've got a whole silo, and then I take basically the same width of the chips in rods. So usually it's like a 10 mil rod, maybe up to 15 if they're bigger slices. And I put clear over all the faces of all these chips before they're like too worked and inflamed, to protect the face. And, as I got better at it, I now will swoop up to about 6 chips at once. Oh. So you just have to make sure to not smear them, so it's a matter of making sure your temperatures are just right. And I go in with just a super, super liquid clear that just wipes right out there.
Drape it over it.
Yeah. So I do that over all the faces of all the chips. And then next is kind of like the most important part of this, which is going back to your original question, one of the more difficult parts of this.
Listen up, kids.
Listen up. We're pinching together troughs. So, you got your clear and your clear faces right here, but in between you got this open V, which is the side of the Millie. If you just melted it in, that would it would all displace and that would become a part of that face image. So what I do is pinch the two faces together. So
of the Millie or the clear?
You're basically only touching the clear.
Okay.
But you're pulling that color together, because it's associated and attached. Yeah. So this is where I also try to get images to sort of line up if there is that type of image.
You got a little wiggle room.
Yeah. But it's kind of like, so I'm not always pinching straight across. Sometimes I'm like, oh, this needs to pull down a little bit. Yeah. But you can do that and pinch it all. And but what I'm sure any lamp worker would be thinking of, what about the bubbles? You know what I mean?
I was thinking.
Yeah, I knew. I could see it in your eyes.
I was waiting.
What are you doing with the bubbles? Well, sometimes you get bubbles, and you can go in and pick those out. But for the most part, if you pinch it together right, and these things, the chips aren't totally welded together. There's still some gaps in there. In the next stage, once you get them all pinched together all the way up the seams, the next step is crucially important. You cannot blow into it until you completely collapse that whole tube. So now,
are you squeezing the air up from the inside?
Yeah, basically the air is going to the inside of the tube. So you're just super liquefying each area and marvering it down, and you're pushing the air to the inside. If you blow into it too early, where it's still open up, you will actually blow that air bubble back into the clear. So. As long as you work all that clear down, then you go back and you liquefy it and puff out. And then
you shrink it down. Once you got the clear on, you pinch it, you want to shrink it in.
Shrink it down.
Work that down.
And you can see that there's no air in there. So you work it all down and then you work it back across again and blow it all out. And actually like puff it. You got to work the chips in. And stuff like that. So, it's a pretty raw technique. Like when I'm working in somebody's studio and they see me doing this, bro, the looks I get. Have you seen it? Have you seen me actually do it? It looks like I'm working with a piece of a log off a tree that just happens to be clear.
And then you turn it into that.
It looks rough. And most people are like, he's never ever. But then,
it just comes together.
You just really got to get it super
hot. It doesn't need to be totally perfect. Like it's perfect to the eye, but I mean, it's not all measured perfect squares. Work it in.
Yeah.
But it's a great technique. You get a color.
It works for me. It provides a nice base piece of prep to make anything out of. And, I don't mind, like when I sculpt my animals and stuff, when you take real perfect stuff, you're going to distort it because to get a properly sculpted thing, you got to sacrifice some of the pattern. And I just have no guilt when I do that. I don't have any guilt when I snip a piece off. I feel like if I spend too much time on a piece of prep, you just
every part.
You're so protective of it. Yeah, man. You're like, oh, I would shape that part right, but I would distort it. So maybe I'll sacrifice a little bit of the sculpting to save some of the, I just,
that's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes me enjoy the process more. And like I said, I couldn't,
it's fun.
Force myself to do that. And we could go in your shop right now. You could be like, oh, make me a heart Millie. I could stack it up, pull it down, and I'd have that done in probably an hour and a half. I could crash cool it. We could chop it up, nip it up.
Get a piece going this evening.
I got a nip tip for you out there.
Okay.
Let me hear that air horn.
Let's go. Whoop. This is a big tip.
Crunklestein's nip tip.
Okay.
So for years, I nipped them by hand, and I would make so many canes, I would get blisters on my hands every time I did it. You know what I mean? So what you do to nip canes properly, find yourself I don't know why they used to make the nippers just a little bit larger and you could fit bigger canes. And over the years, they've gotten smaller and smaller, and you can cut a little bit smaller.
Are you talking with the 2 discs?
The disc nippers, man. I don't know what, they've gotten a little smaller over the years, which sucks. But either way, find yourself a good one. There's a little pin you can remove that I think helps them open a little bit. No, you keep the spring in there.
Okay.
So the handles are made out of pretty soft metal. Grab yourself a metal drill bit, drill a couple holes that are big enough to put screws through. Screw that damn thing to a table somewhere, a real sturdy table. You can also use like electrical conduit holders or some kind of hooks like that. Strap it to the bench, whatever you got to do to make that thing nice and stable, right? And then get yourself a piece of electrical conduit or some type of solid steel tubing. Mm-hmm. Put a little piece of padding on there maybe to make it more comfy, and just
make a long handle.
Just slide it right over the handle. So now you got this leverage.
Yeah.
You just feed your cane in there.
I've seen this before somewhere. I'm not sure if it's from yours. Yeah, but like
maybe I've taken it to Pipe Classic and other places because you can actually just unscrew it from the table and you can travel with that real easily.
So you just feed your Millie cane through. Do you use water?
Well, you keep your thumb kind of touching the chopper the whole time. I mean, it's a delicate thing, because you're just advancing the cane. Yeah. Like 5 millimeters.
You just use your thumb as a guide.
Use your thumb as a guide. Crack, 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 crack. So I can break down all these like massive pounds of cane relatively quickly as well.
Do you use water?
Nope.
Because I heard water helps the crack when you're scoring and cracking. And
talking about misting water onto it?
No, just like having it wet when you're cracking it.
I don't know how I'd accomplish that underwater though.
No, like just even like when I crack stuff, I'll dip my finger into my water bucket and put it on and score it. Huh. Keeps the dust down too a little bit, but that's really cool.
Yeah, this gets dusty. You want to wear a mask for sure, because if you got some good light, you can see it. You know?
I don't know if there's a way that like just a drop of water goes a long way when it's like there's some scientific tech that I've heard before where you know how like the crack spreads. Like
sure.
Underwater or with water, it goes a little extra.
Huh.
So check me on that one.
Yeah, you just want to keep the nipper blades sharp too. Like every time,
rotate them a little bit.
Yeah, every time I go do a session of a bunch of different canes, there I'll rotate them just a little bit.
And then when are they no good?
When
you get like all
when you rotate it, it feels the same, and you're like, this is not quite.
How long do they last you shipping all those millies?
I mean,
I don't think I've ever changed.
If I'm doing like 30 to 40 pounds of cane, that I chop up, like. It's definitely going to be dull by the end of that.
Oh, really?
Little session.
So you just rotate it.
And it's only hitting that, few millimeters of surface. So you only have to rotate it, say like 5 millimeters or something like that.
Wow. Yeah, totally.
But
not even sometimes
in the grand scheme, they're not that expensive, especially if you want to compare it to like a bunch of wheels for a flat lap. If I were cold working all these canes, there's going to be something there. So it's basically
Harbor Freight, dude, $9.99.
There you go.
Whatever.
Nice. But basically what I do, my techniques are very simple and there's no fancy equipment necessary, and just so it's not something that you have to spend a lot of other time doing stuff, because I like to just really be on the torch. I don't like to be in the cold working room or any of that stuff, or even spending too much time like drawing and planning. If it's something that doesn't require that, and it's going to be a good functional piece, like I'll just get right into it.
Want to smoke what I'm smoking on? Well, we're going to be sampling WNC CBD's top shelf THCA flower live here on the podcast. Real results, real reviews, real stoned. New flavors hit every week, and the flower is straight up premium. I'm telling you. No dispensary markups, no dry herb, no nonsense. Go to WNCCBD.com and use code STASH25 for 25% off your order. Look at those nugs. This episode is brought to you by Puffco. Whether you're pulling late nights in the studio or sitting at home in your sweatpants watching cartoons, Puffco keeps your hits clean, tasty, and terp heavy. As a glass blower, I can say this: they nailed the science and they left the art up to us. Tap in with Puffco and elevate your ritual without ever lighting up.
When did you start getting into the animals? Like, were you always
just always in the animals? Yeah. As a kid, I really dug it, but I worked in an aquarium store for like all through high school.
Okay, that's making a lot of sense now.
Yeah, I had other jobs, but that was my first like kind of like real job, you know. And basically, I brought the whole store home with me. I mean, rarely was a paycheck. So
you got paid in animals and
pretty much, yeah.
Tanks.
So my parents' basement was full of fish tanks. My brother worked there too, so we were both doing the same dumb shit.
Too?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm a little bit more obsessive with it, especially nowadays. My brother's got some cats, but like that's about it.
Pretty
you know,
normal thing to have.
What
you got turtles, lizards.
Oh boy, here we go.
Okay, let's hear the Crunklestein Zoo.
Well,
breakdown.
We got 2 dogs and 3 cats.
Okay.
So we got 2 little 15-pound dogs, Bug and Stitch, real cute. We got 3 cats now. We were a 1-cat household.
Just recently got a new one, right?
Yeah, so we've got this cat a few years ago. Mama Mooms, we call her now, but Moomy is her name. And she came up from Mexico City. Some people brought her up. She was like a street cat or something. And she is like the sweetest damn thing. And so we just wanted to get another cat. I was thinking that she was kind of bored and needed a friend. She was looking just like she needed a
little depressed.
Yeah, and the dogs don't play like, you know, nice with her. Not. They just like to chase. So there was, my wife's a vet tech. So there's often people that come in there and, you know, are looking to get rid of kittens or something like that.
They can't handle it.
And I'm always like, I'll take it. But this time she actually did. We got this feral cat, and we needed a minnow. It's real cute. And it had 2 sisters, and they went to a rescue. Turns out the rescue was kind of a bad rescue, and one of them actually died. One of the other sisters. So we were like, get us the other one. We're saving it, whatever. So we did not plan on getting 2 new cats. We ended up getting this other one. And actually, its name was Thelma, and it was a real sad story, you know, that it lost its sister. And we're like, we can't keep it named Thelma because every single person's going to ask where Louise is. We're going to have to tell this terrible story. So so we named her Guppy. So we got Minnow and Guppy.
Okay.
So they're real cute, little tabbies. They look like wild cats. Like Minnow's really spotted and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And looks like some kind of crazy creek cat.
So you got the normal animals that...
Those are the normal animals, yeah. So we got a tortoise. His name's
one tortoise?
Just one, yeah. Okay. You really only want to have one. Okay. You know?
And how old is this tortoise?
We think he's like 28.
Wow.
But there's no way to tell for sure. We didn't have it from a baby. It was like a rescue. Glassblower, shout out Brandon Martin, Minneapolis. He found this tortoise up there for us. And he's really into rescues and reptiles and stuff. And he had one at the time himself. And so he found us Travis.
Does he not have it anymore? Because I heard that's a long commitment.
Yeah, no, but Brandon, I think, had to give his up. His name was Fern. But he found a
good home,
like a sanctuary down in Florida for it to live. And it's like the perfect environment down there.
Yeah.
So, he drove it down there, I think, and all that. So, I don't think he has his anymore. But, yeah, we got Travis. He's chill. He lives down.
What's the turtle?
He lives down in the basement. You know, being in Wisconsin, it's not ideal for a tortoise like that. That would normally like a really warm and humid environment. So we got him he was 8 pounds when we got him. I think he didn't have the best upbringing. And that's what happens with these tortoises. They're so cute as babies, and you can put them in that little aquarium, and they're people get them for kids, and they're just like such a serious commitment. They're not though, really. You know what I mean? Like, they need a nice little salad. They need to be fed well. They need to be in a nice humid environment. So a lot of times their shells will pyramid up. It's called, like, each one of the little sections you see on their shells will they're supposed to be smooth like a helmet, sort of.
I've seen ones that have that, like each spot kind of goes to a pyramid.
Yeah, that's not like natural.
That's not good.
It's not necessarily super detrimental, but it's a sign that they're lacking in either like humidity, diet. You know, it's not necessarily one specific thing. To my knowledge, you know, I'm not a herpetologist or anything.
What are they called? Herpetologist. Herpetologist.
Yeah, Travie boy. We were told he was 20 when we got him, and we've had him for 8 years.
Wow.
So, but he was 8 pounds. Now he's almost 20 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't weighed
doubled.
I haven't weighed him in years, and he was 18 last time. He was just growing like crazy.
What did they get to when they're?
I don't think they get much bigger than that.
Some do though, right? Some get
hundreds of pounds. Massive. Yeah. No, we don't. I don't even know what to do with that. But he lives. I converted like a walk-in closet in my basement where I have a lot of the other fish tanks I have and some filters and stuff. So that half of my basement stays like 75 degrees and like 80% humidity year round. Wow. Even when it's like, you know, sub-zero temperatures outside, it's still like that. And then the other half of my basement's my glass studio. So that fluctuates quite a bit depending on the weather.
Does the ventilation draw some of it out? Do you have ventilation?
Yeah, there's a window behind me and it's like a wind tunnel. So when I have ventilation on, I mean, it's changing out the air every couple seconds. It's really, really good ventilation to the point where I have 2 big fans and I usually just use one fan and they're on dimmer switches and I have it on the very lowest. And that's enough to like still be really good ventilation.
Exhaust it all.
So yeah, I can't be pulling out all that nice warm air in the middle of winter because it would get dry and whatever. So yeah, he basically has his own closet there that actually is like 85 degrees and has heat lamps. And then he can also roam the entire basement.
What does he do? Does he do any tricks or do you play fetch with him?
Funny you say that. But when you say tricks, I mean,
well, like you say, hey, check out my trail, rolled over, or no, I guess they can't roll over. They get
I'll tell you though, he is a super social guy. He, like, wildish reptiles, they'll run away from you or whatever else, or just, tortoise will turtle up, he'll go inside and hide from you.
Oh yeah.
He comes running over and he walks really tall and stuff. And like, he comes over, he wants to smell your ankles and your feet and stuff. And it's just like, he'll move his head all crazy. In the winter, he has a totally different personality.
Is that right?
He just chills, doesn't really want to do anything. We take him out to give him a nice warm bath like every day. And
every day he's got a bath?
Yeah, but we just fill like a little like a bus tub.
Okay.
With a few inches of water. Like you just throw some nice warm water on him and then just let him sit in there. And when he wants to get out, he tries to like climb out and he can get out himself, but you usually catch him struggling and you take him out and throw him in a little towel. So, and he'll drink a lot of that water. So it's a good time for him to hydrate and stuff. And, it's good for him. And a lot of times you have to do that also because he just, you can't really train him to poop anywhere. So he just goes whenever and wherever he wants. And he doesn't like to go in his closet
hangout area.
Yeah, it's like wood chips.
That's smart.
And astroturf.
He's like, I don't want that in there.
He leaves there to do that. So that's a good thing. And the floors are all epoxied, so they're sort of easy to mop up. But I mean, this is a good story I like to tell here. So we have to rate his poopings like hurricanes.
Yeah. Because
sometimes you got to call in reinforcements or just explain like, oh man, I just got hit by
cancel my afternoon.
Hit by a category 4. Yeah. Because sometimes he'll poo and he'll walk away and it's easy. You just go pick it up, spray the floor, wipe it up. That's a category 1 there.
Best case scenario,
but often he likes to walk laps and stuff and get his exercise. So he's always walking around in the basement, and he'll do us like a Roomba. Like you've probably seen the videos online where like a animal will shit on the floor and then the Roomba goes around and around and around.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's what he does. So,
and you just see the patterns.
So category 5 is like, don't even bother with the paper towel or anything. There is no turd to pick up. It's all been finger painted into the floor.
Oh my God.
And, so he'll have it on him. You got to put him in the bath. He'll kind of self rinse. It's kind of the best you can do. Maybe get a little brush and scrub him a little bit. But you can't really soap him up or anything, But then, it's just a mop job and then you got to bleach mop it and stuff. So sometimes I just feel like I run a little zoo. And I'm kind of
non-profit.
I'm just a janitor. There's no profit, bro. It's not a non-profit. It's just a no profit. But no, there is profit in the benefits.
The joy,
the companionship. You know, like we love our animals.
Does he hang out and like watch you work while you're working there? Is he
No, I don't.
There?
I don't let him in the shop because he's always at your feet, and it's so easy to not only trip over him, but you don't really realize how many little micro steps you take backwards when you're just standing. But you'll do that and kind of kick him in the face.
Oh yeah, I do that. My dog gets right near me.
Yeah,
I'll step on her.
Oh,
and I'm like, Bailey, you're standing right there.
It's really hard to keep track of that. Yeah. So they have a super hard like face and stuff. So he doesn't really get hurt, luckily, but you always feel just so bad, and he'll like pull back into his shell. He goes, you know, he'll kind of make this like he like decompresses. Like, what are you doing? No, I have this like baby gate that I put like in the summertime. I can leave the double doors open. It's all like nice and warm on both sides, but I have to have a baby gate there. Otherwise, he loves being in the shop. I don't know if it's because like the floor's orange, like the other side of the basement's blue. Like, kind of the water side that it's like kind of mellow. He likes the orange side. I think it charges him up. So he likes to come in the shop and do laps. And sometimes he'll do a shitacane in the shop. In the shop, yeah. And it's like if I have it messy where there's like bubble wrap scraps and stuff on the floor, he don't care. He likes to actually pop bubble wrap. That's one of the funny things he likes to do.
Some of my kids.
He stomps on it. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
That's awesome.
So I just basically try to keep him out of the shops. He's all over the place. But
sounds like a cute little guy.
In the summertime, he goes outside. So this is just his like norm. We don't leave him out overnight. We're pretty protective. Do
you have a fenced off area?
It's very well fenced because man, if he got loose, probably never see him again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They just go and it's like the tortoise and the hare. Like he's way on the other side of the yard, and you look down, he's at your feet. You know, it's the consistency of their walking.
Yeah, he would just go one direction.
He's just
not nose.
They make good time, dude. They make good time. Actually, like 10 years ago, my wife found a tortoise in our neighborhood. One of the big ones.
Really?
Like
Are they native to?
No, absolutely not. And being tortoise owners.
That's crazy. You saw big tortoise.
It actually wasn't even. It was probably like 8 years ago. I think I was at like the Vegas show or something. And she like messaged me like, I just found this tortoise. And I immediately knew, hey, this is somebody's pet. They probably are freaking out right now. Because I know that
you can't really put a collar on them.
Yeah, you'd probably put an air tag on them or something.
Air tag.
That would be probably
just
pretty
drill
smart.
Into a shell.
I don't know if you want to do that. just drill it. What the hell are you doing?
Glue it.
Maybe you could do that. I don't know, but I would advise against drilling into a tortoise shell.
Okay.
That's always, besides glass, it's one of the only other things I've been kind of infinitely obsessed with. You know, kind of.
What is it about? Is it all species, or is it like live coral or fish too?
I mean, I like everything. I don't have a lot of freshwater tanks because it's just
saltwater.
It's almost all saltwater that I have except for a koi pond. All saltwater is kind of the same. So all over the world, all these oceans are connected, the salinity, all that stuff, pH, it doesn't vary that much. And it kind of everywhere fluctuates a little bit. Freshwater, all these bodies of water are separate. And so when you talk about freshwater aquariums, you need to know exactly what kind of fish you want and then stay with that thing. You know, you can't just, I want one of these and I want one of these. It just doesn't really work out. So I'm afraid, get back into freshwater, I'd have probably 10 more aquariums because there's so much cool shit. I'd be freshwater puffers. We want an Amazon tank. We want, African cichlids and, there's so many different things to do. So I don't really mess with freshwater that much.
What's in your saltwaters?
A little bit of everything.
Favorite? Yeah. Which one of your favorites?
I think when it comes down to it, I really like the coral the most. So I've got a coral tank.
Does it
in my
go
living room.
In and out?
Some of them move. Some of them are just little hard sticks. There's a lot of different families.
Do you need to feed them?
Yeah, they mostly eat light. They're mostly photosynthetic.
Okay.
And so
eat light.
Oh God, this is a big rabbit hole we're about to go down right here, man. I don't know if you're interested, but just let me know if it's a little too much information.
I know there's a lot of people. Hoops has a saltwater tank with.
Oh yeah, dude.
There's a lot of people out there that collect these.
So for people that don't know about coral, so a lot of people actually think they're plants. They'll be like, oh, these plants you have in here are so sick. And like, those are animals actually. It's like they look kind of like plants, but they are animals. They look like they're from an alien planet, most of them. But indeed, they do live on planet Earth. Not too deep typically, because they do need to do photosynthesis. So reefs on planet Earth are typically, right up to the surface of the water, just about. Sometimes the coral grows right out of the water. And usually they don't go much deeper than about 60 feet, I think is where you get, most of the activity there. And that's where you get the Great Barrier Reef, and, all over the world, there's these areas that have these shallow water. Well, that's a whole other story, and I'm not an expert on that, but I'll tell you the coral bleaching over the last
it's crazy
few years
they all
is pretty bad.
Breed too, because it's just at a certain moon they all just release their.
Well, that's the sexual reproduction of coral. Yeah. Corals also will asexually reproduce. A lot of them kind of like. Okay, so let me rewind a little bit before we get to this.
We're going down the coral.
So when you talk about coral, you can first split it into two groups: soft corals that are just kind of basically soft tissues, and hard corals, which are the ones that you see the white skeletons of. Those corals make a hard calcium-based skeleton on the inside. So soft corals a lot of times are known as leather corals. You got toadstools. You get these mushroom corals. A lot of these corals actually will asexually reproduce. Bits of them will just fall off, and then they'll attach and start growing. Really? Like the mushroom corals, zoanthids, I compare them to like gummies. They're like a gummy, neon gummy, and they'll slide to the side and they'll leave a little bit of themselves behind. That'll turn into a new mushroom or a new gummy.
Is that right?
So they have different ways of propagating. Hard corals, you can split that family, that whole group, into two things. You have SPS and LPS, which is small polyp stony coral, large polyp stony coral.
Okay.
And by polyp, I mean every polyp of coral is basically like an anemone, where it's a group of tentacles with a mouth in the middle. So small polyp stony corals are like acropora corals, montiporas. A lot of the branchy ones you see, they have tiny little polyps. And if you look really, really close, they have tiny mouths. And because they have tiny mouths, they eat tiny food like phytoplankton, like small zooplankton. Large polyp stony corals, a lot of these things are very cool. A lot of them are more like one-of-a-kind corals. The SPSs, you can nip a little bit of a branch off, glue it to a rock, give it to a friend, whatever, and it grows out from there. Really? So it's almost like taking a cutting of a plant. Large polyp stony corals.
You glue it to a rock and just
you actually use a super glue gel.
Really?
Stays together under salt water and then it hardens. So that's typically what you use to when you go and buy a new coral, you take it home, you glue it to a rock, and then they encrust on and then they grow out from there. So the large polyp stony corals are often like one-of-a-kind pieces, where some of them you can still chop in half and grow too, but for the most part, you don't do that. You just buy it. It's like a collector piece. And there's basic ones, and then there's like these insane ones that are thousands of dollars each,
Why are they so insane? Just
because they're one of a kind, never seen nothing like it. They look like a looks like a unicorn puked. You know what I mean? Like you can get the craziest color splashes.
Really?
But
do they know what strain it is?
Yeah. It'll be like, say it's an acantho coral, which is a meat coral that is a big, it's got a calcium skeleton that looks, they're like round, basically, like almost not perfectly round, but almost like a hemisphere. And these things every day will fill up with water and then release all the water through their mouths. So in the morning when they want to inflate so that they're nice and big and they can do photosynthesis, they'll suck in a bunch of water. And at the same time, they'll take in whatever phytoplankton and stuff they can find. They'll make themselves big. And so there's a big piece of jelly, neon typically, jelly. And a lot of them are UV reactive and all that as well.
Wow.
So
that's cool.
Yeah, it's real cool. That's why in the morning and in the evening in an aquarium like this, you're just going to have purple and blue light on. So it's like a little rave party, just all neon in there. And that's what makes a lot of these corals more expensive. The more crazy bright they are,
Oh, I see.
And then there's a rarity factor. There's also a pedigree factor.
Do people trim them to get how they, like a bonsai tree, how you train it? Or
it all depends on what kind of coral. So those SPSs that are branchy, you absolutely can trim them.
Yeah.
And so unlike plants that just kind of grow over each other when they're fighting for sunlight, the coral competes by actually killing its neighbor with poison.
Really?
Yeah. So they zap their neighbors. Some corals are rated.
Same species or different species?
So if they're the same species, sometimes they won't zap each other. If you have two different colors, say they'll play nice. But most corals will not recognize whatever kind of coral is next to it, and so they go to war. And it's really
it's the slowest
it's really
war
interesting.
Ever.
Yeah. So when you touch a coral, it'll feel slimy. In that slime is what's called a nematocyst, and it's actually like when you look at it under a microscope, it looks just like a harpoon. And it stabs into stuff and then it poisons it. So you can rate coral on a scale of aggressiveness like you would with like a fish. And so some corals play nice with their neighbors, like the soft corals I was talking about. A lot of those can grow right next to each other. They can rub all over each other. And they'll be, for the most part, real happy. They're just fine. Mm-hmm. Most of the other corals will try to turn its neighbor into slime. And
does the neighbor fight back with its own self-defense?
Yeah. What's your level of aggression here, and how are you killing your neighbor? Some don't start zapping it until they're really touching. A lot of corals will have what's called sweeper tentacles. So these clear tentacles will come out. Sometimes they're like a foot long or more.
Wow.
And they usually
like
come
aliens.
Yeah, totally alien stuff here I'm talking. So a lot of times these will come out at night. And they just blow in the breeze. They can't actually control them. It's all just kind of in the current. But they will sweep ahead of where they're growing. And anything that thing touches, it actually like sticks to it. And they're just like zap, 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 zap.
Wow.
So, and they will actually turn their neighbors into like this. It turns them into slime, and then it's just like dead.
It clears the real estate.
It clears the real estate, and they grow on in.
That's wild.
So the tentacles that come out of a lot of these corals at night. So they'll do the photosynthesis during the day, and then at night, a lot of these things it's like they close up shop. They let all the water out and get smaller, and what just looked like normal neon during the day, a ring will flip inside out. It's all like clear tentacles, and they're not the long sweeper tentacles, but little short feeding tentacles. And those will pick up the zooplankton that's floating by in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And zooplankton is just any little sea bug. A lot of times phytoplankton or zooplankton is a lot of underwater animals in their larval stage. So whether it's like shrimp, clams, whatever, these things, most things that breed in the ocean, when they hatch out of their eggs, they just enter the water column and they just float until they're developed enough to grab onto a rock and grow from there. When a tank is happy and balanced, you kind of just want to leave it alone. Because especially when you have stuff like I do that lives a long time, a lot of the fish I have can live up to 12 years, some even 20 years.
Jeez.
And so if you're like,
you got to see if they play well together too with mixing.
Yeah, there's always that. And like they can get stressed out and then they get sick and then everybody gets sick. And then, really? If you're always just itching for new stuff, which, you kind of do that for a while with fish tanks usually until you chill a little bit. Everything will be going great. And you just like, I just want to add this one new cool fish I found. The fish store had this really cool thing. And then everybody gets sick or something. You lose a fish you've had for 10 years over wanting to get a new one. I've kind of like learned my lessons with that. So I try not to get too quick to do that. Yeah. And I even have a quarantine tank that when I get something new, I can keep it in there until I feel like it's ready for the big show. You know what I mean? To go in with the rest of the gang. But even
if you see a sick fish, do you put it in there too?
If I can catch them.
If
I can catch them. And I have a bunch of different fish traps and good.
Oh, to catch them actually.
Yeah, to physically catch them. Because man, a lot of these fish in a lot of these tanks, there's so much rock work that if they get in there, it's like, how bad do you want to catch that fish? Do you want to stress out everybody else that's in the tank by, deconstructing the rock work or, stab it in there trying to, it's like, how badly do they need to come out? And sometimes if it's a fish that turned on the coral, starts eating some of my really nice corals, I'll do whatever I got to do. You know what I mean? Like I'll start. Well, that's where some of the smarter traps come in. So if you can get this fish to be kind of, if it's a food aggressive fish or something, you can feed inside these traps, and he'll be one of the guys that'll be one of the ones that comes and bullies for all the food. Well, they'll get in there and you can catch them too.
It's like you put the food in and locks them in this net.
I have one that's made out of clear acrylic, and when they go in there, you let go of this like fishing line and thing, and it shuts the door. It's like a totally manual, trap.
So you gotta be in there. You're like, go fucker.
I've also caught quite a few fish out of my main reef tank by hand fishing with a tiny little hook.
Really?
It's fun. It's like tropical reef fishing.
Just a little mini rod, too.
Yeah, because I've had some fish that turned really nasty up there, and I'm like, you got to come out, and that's the only way to do it out of that tank. So
no way.
No little rod.
Fishing
just
in your
by
basement.
hand. No, that's up in my living room, bro. Yeah.
Okay.
But there's these little ice fishing hooks you can get that are just super tiny, and you can take the barb off them if they even have them. And then you're just in there I'll put their favorite food on there, like a little piece of krill or something, and just bam, dude. And then you got to pull them out before they just like rampage and break all the other coral off and stuff. Like they can really fuck shit up.
You got a little net, scoop them.
Yeah, pull them up, net them up. That's the thing with all these different tanks. I often will have just stuff like that happens, but it keeps you on your toes. You got to keep your eye out. Every time I walk past like the main coral tank, I'm like analyzing every single coral, because you never know if they've got something going on, or like things break off and fall onto other corals and they start zapping each other right away. So if you don't catch that pretty quick, they can both just die.
You got cameras on them so you can check on your phone?
No, but I probably should. I have
just show people. I can live view in my tank.
I have a bunch of different probes and stuff that constantly monitor things, so I can like check things on my phone, but I don't. And that actually has like cameras you can set up through that app that you can monitor on there.
That'd be cool.
That's
like
weird.
When you're on vacation right now.
I like having cameras going in my house. This is weird, dude. I mean, I have them like at the entries and stuff for security, but it's just kind of weird to me. Like, I don't know, man.
Just put them right on the fish tank, so it's just
you can cover up the microphone, but all these things. I don't know. It's just weird having cameras. There's actually underwater cameras too, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
that I would actually
that would be cool. You could.
Yeah,
see the fish
little reef cam, dude. Then
little 360 cam.
Yeah, I could share that so people can go and watch it and stuff. Watch the reef cam. That would actually be pretty cool, because
you could like put that live on stream that.
Yeah,
I'm really fish station.
I'm really big on the invertebrates, like the shrimp and crabs and all that stuff too. And there's always like, so in these tanks,
do you eat these afterwards?
No,
or no? Okay,
no. I'm actually vegetarian anyway, so I wouldn't. But these guys, I love the animals. I stopped eating them. So I just like knowing I can exist without doing that. And so,
that's good.
I don't know. I give it a go.
Yeah.
So with all these different types of little critters, a reef cam like that would be super cool, because you see something different every time too.
Yeah, you could peep their behavior.
Yeah, there's cute little hermit crabs or snails and all this stuff that are like cleanup crew type dudes that are doing work, starfish and stuff. So
that's so cool.
Yeah. So maybe I'll set ones up on these days. I'll let you know.
Well, dude, we're doing pretty good here. We're getting close to 2 hours, man.
Dude, I could ramble about aquarium and
I wanted to ask you about
coral all day.
Yeah, your car too. Like, you're driving out here. Did you ever get any road rage stories? You ever? Are you pretty
no, dude.
Driver?
Like, I avoid the road rage type shit.
People
dude.
Get shooty.
Yeah, it's dumb.
States.
And I live in Milwaukee. I don't know. People don't know about Milwaukee sometimes, but like, it's not a place you go around and like flip people off and shit.
Why? People stand their ground pretty good.
Yeah, there's that, but it can be like kind of rough, dude.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of the inner city of Milwaukee that I just, I don't have any business there and I don't go there. And
the inner city part.
It can be notoriously sort of dangerous, and like people don't follow, traffic laws, things like that. So like, it's
can be a little wild.
If you value your vehicle and stuff, it's just somewhere that you maybe want to avoid. Not only bad potholes and stuff, but like people don't stop for stoplights or anything. It's just it can be like kind of a little hairy, and so I like to be chill.
Away,
I stay away from road ragers. I let them go. Or, I like to drive faster cars, and like if people like that, I just like to get away from them and use what you got and try to avoid situations there.
Yeah, smart. That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
What people get, like in California, people where those gun laws, like people are shooting at cars.
Yeah.
With road rage.
Yeah. Last time I flipped somebody off in traffic, was on the way to the gym a couple years ago. Actually, the wife was in the car and she didn't like this either, but this dude pulled a total asshole move. And I was like, and I just flipped him off. My car's like tinted. And I didn't even think he could see, but this dude like followed me, and he was driving in the other lane of oncoming traffic to be next to me to like have his chick roll the window down and was like yelling. I don't know if he flashed a gun or not. I think he might have, but
whoa, this is the story I'm asking about.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, like, this is a great rage story.
You know,
then you learned, you're like, that's too scary.
I don't have a lot of
doing that.
It was just a reminder. I hadn't had a situation like that in a really long time. Wow. But I ended up being able to ditch this guy because he was in that oncoming traffic. He went through an intersection in that other lane of traffic and ended up forward, and I busted it right and just floored it and got out of there. It was like, I shouldn't have did that, even though,
dude,
I don't think I was the asshole in the situation. I mean, if you could see the move he pulled to cut me off, it was kind of like well-deserved to at least flip
people. You don't know if they got like a mental disability or a gun, or they're having a bad day and they just want.
Yeah, no, that was so I stay to myself, but I do like to rip around.
I had a funny one the other day. I was driving down to Denver, and this work truck cut me off, and it had the big phone number on it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to call this number. And I call the guy. Nice. I'm like, you know what? One of your drivers is driving like an asshole. And he goes, oh, is that you back there in your station wagon? And it was the guy driving that answered the phone. So nice. I'm on the phone with this guy in front of me.
Some real accountability right there. Yeah, the number is just me, and I'm going to tell you to.
But it's funny. I'm now talking to this guy that I just like we're having.
That's pretty great.
Road rage.
Was he a dick or was he like nice?
He was actually pretty funny. And then I looked him up at breakfast, and I'm like, this guy's he had West Coast Customs. Shout out, dude. Nice. And I was like, I might use this guy to remodel my house and just call him in and be like, hey, how's it going? Can you give me a quote on this? And look familiar? I don't know.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. All right, man. Well, let me ask you one last question. If I were to write you into my new cartoon, what animal would you be? Because it's all anthropomorphic animals on it. But what animal would you be?
What animal would I be?
Sloth, maybe?
Like, if you talk like that the whole time, maybe a sloth. Oh, man.
Chameleon?
You know, I've always loved chameleons, man. That's one of the reasons I make them. But
what could you see yourself being? I don't know if I've
ever thought of myself as the actual chameleon.
What would it be?
What would it be? Should I be a fish? I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
We could.
And you always need, like, we'll have a bowl of water.
Could get aquatic.
That drags around with you. And you can have your flippers half in the... we don't know. We'll think about it. You
should have gave me some time to think about that one. Yeah.
We'll think about it, because I'm working on this cartoon. We're writing everyone in, and it'll be funny.
Okay. Yeah. I'll work on this. I'll work on this one.
Yeah. AKM's a bear, said.
Okay.
Yeah, so bear's been taken. But anyways.
I was going to say puffer fish was the first thing I thought of. But
yeah, when you get mad. You're just chilling with spiky guy.
I don't puff up too often.
No,
man. I'm just chilling, you know.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, you're great. It's been great to get to know you over the last little while, especially since we're VR buddies now.
Oh,
really
yeah.
Hanging out. It's like we're right there.
Yeah, dude.
That shit's fun, dude.
VR, especially in the Wisconsin winter, man. It was nice to be able to hit some golf balls.
In VR world.
It is, exactly, man. Nice sunny day every day.
Yeah, that's fun, man.
Yeah,
hey, man. Well, good luck at your game on this or the tournament on Friday.
Thank you.
I'll be out. I'm gonna
be a good time.
Come out some way. I can't come and golf because my knee is fractured. But
yeah, dude, you could always come just hang and fucking ride around in a cart or something.
I mean, that would be fun.
I don't know.
I might think
we could probably work that out, dude. Yeah,
I could like host some competitions or something too. Like stay on one hole and move the thing closer. Dude. I'd be down for that.
You could hype people up there and make fun of them when they shank them. You know, I mean.
I got like a little karaoke thing, like a speak. Oh, I got that megaphone right there too. Be like, okay.
Yeah, you could hit them with some of that back off challenge style stuff, you know, and just heckle them as they're driving. Whatever you want to do, man. Come hang out.
I'm gonna try and get out for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Whether you're Crunklestein on Instagram.
Yep, Crunklestein.
Do you have a website?
I got a little website. It's just crunk.glass.
Crunk.glass.
And I also have a new Insta. It's Crunk Golf.
Crunk Golf related.
Actually, it's Crunklestein Golf.
Crunklestein Golf.
That's right.
It's where you're showcasing the putters and.
Yeah, I only put the putters on there. I kind of keep it light on the weed stuff. You know what I mean? Not that it really matters, but you know, I thought I'd just do a little experiment, see what
cool.
people like, you know.
I'll have to give that one a follow. I don't think I'm following that one, but
all right.
Crunklestein.golf or Crunklestein Golf.
Crunklestein Golf on
IG.
Instagram. Yep, absolutely.
Awesome, dude. Well, thank you so much, bro.
Yeah.
Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you Friday.
Sounds good, bud.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for tuning in to the Robertson Stash Podcast, brought to you by WNC CBD. If you want to support us, please hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We want to hear from you. So if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to reach out. Hit the website, hit the link. We'll see you next time.